Hello, everybody. Welcome. So happy that you could join today. It's noon on the dot here on the West Coast. Before we get started with the presentation, just a couple things. I have you all off video and on mute for the presentation portion of this workshop. And then once that is done, I will take video off, at least for me, so I can say hello and you can see my face for the question and answer portion, which will come at the end of today. So just make sure that you remain on mute for the presentation portion. The presentation should take about 45 minutes, and then there will be 15 minutes of questions at the end or more if a lot of you have questions. So make sure to stay on until the end, not only for the Q&A, but also I'm going to have some more free stuff for you that I'll be announcing at the end of this webinar as well. So make sure to stick around. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Molly. This is 3 ways to instantly improve your relationship with food. I'm so happy you showed up today. You're going to be learning how to stop obsessive and anxious food thoughts so that you can listen to your hunger cues and also ditch food guilt and get rid of your food rules for good. So that's why you showed up today. I want to dive in and get started to just be good about timing as people continue to roll in. That's totally fine. Again, welcome today. So I'm going to show you how you can make the ultimate shift from struggling with your relationship with food, possibly feeling overwhelmed by obsessive food thoughts, anxious food thoughts, feeling uncertain about where to start with intuitive eating. I want you to leave today feeling less anxious and more at peace with your choices around food. So that's what we're going to do today. And again, stay with me until the end. I'm going to have some special bonuses that I want to share with you. So make sure to stick around until the Q&A and the end of the presentation as well. Also, a quick reminder, you showed up for you today. You showed up here, you carved out these 45 minutes or an hour of your time to take care of you and to take care of your relationship with food. And in order to do so, I'm going to be asking you to take notes. I'm going to be asking you to participate. I'm going to be asking you actually to take action during this. So let's turn off all distractions. If you guys have your cell phones, go ahead and put them on vibrate, or even better, move them to the other side of the room. If you have your Outlook open or your Gmail, make sure to turn off notifications so you don't have any distractions around you. You don't have your phone around you or your emails or anything, and you're here today as the ultimate act of self-care to show up for you. You're also here today because you're motivated to give yourself space to start your journey towards healing and recovery. It's the time to start a path to better yourself, which is why you showed up here today. You also showed up because you're willing to do the work to form new patterns of thinking versus acting from old beliefs around your relationship with food and your body, right? So you showed up today to do the work. So I'm going to actually have you do some work today. That's why I call it a workshop. So you're not just listening to me, but you're also taking action to shift and create new patterns and new ways of thinking around your relationship with food. You also showed up today because you're ready to embrace freedom, right? So food freedom, freedom from dieting, from food rules. I'm going to go over in detail today what food rules are and have you identify some of yours. Food anxiety, if you're caught in the binge and restriction cycle, and also body negative self-talk. So we're going to cover all of these today. And that's why you're here, right? You're here probably for one of those reasons, if not all of them, to embrace freedom with food and your relationship with food in your body. You're ready for a path towards healing. You're ready to leave behind those old patterns and behaviors and form new beliefs with food. You're ready to find freedom from food rules, food anxiety, diets, and the binge and restrict cycle. Whatever your reason for showing up today, know that I am here and I fully support you on this journey. This is my passion as a health coach. I work with my clients one-on-one so that they can discover food freedom. And that's what I want to help you with too. I want to help you find ways to take action today to start that journey. So I'm here to support you for that. And so this is me, right? So I have been able to find in my journey food freedom and to accept my body just as it is. And now what I do is I teach others in my health coaching practice how to start on their own paths. So this is me with my favorite food, bread and wine for dinner, embracing food freedom. And also me with all of my wonderful cellulite. I love my cellulite now. I used to try and get rid of it, and now I embrace it for what it is. And so there's a picture of my backside with my cellulite on the beach. I've worked now for over 4 years as a certified health coach and also work on intuitive eating. I've had almost 250 clients over those years, and almost all of them have discovered intuitive eating and or food freedom for themselves. So I'll dive in a little bit more about my clients and others who have taken my courses and what has worked for them and what their journeys have been like, and to apply the things that you're going to learn today, just as my clients did as well. So now it's really great. I used to be a binger. I'm no longer a binger. I don't really have that need to control food anymore, restrict. I listen to my hunger and full cues and what my body needs on a daily basis. I used to have obsessive food thoughts as well, looking at menus before I went out to restaurants, deciding what I want beforehand, thinking about what I'm going to eat at the next meal or how this meal is going to affect me. And I now accept my body just as it is, and I no longer diet. So I want you to also imagine what it would feel like for you to find that freedom, for you to find freedom with food and with your body. So even just to take a moment and to close your eyes and think about what would that feeling be like to find freedom. Maybe it seems so far away from where you are now that it's hard to even fathom what that might feel like. But I want you to try and imagine what that would feel like to find food freedom, right? And start eating intuitively and listening to your body. Finding food freedom really means that you are no longer obsessing about food and letting it control your life, right? So that's the really important part about it, is freedom from the obsessive thoughts and the control that food has over your life, right? Because instead, you want to begin to understand how overcoming your fears to make peace with food is actually achievable, and that you can have an ongoing healthy relationship with food. I've seen it with my clients, and I know that you can do it as well. So I want to dive into the 3 things. So again, the title of this webinar, 3 ways to instantly improve your relationship with food. So let's dive in, right? That's why you showed up today. So let's start with number 1. Okay, number 1, the secret to instantly improving your relationship with food is to become aware of what the obsessive voice in your head is saying so that you can turn it off. Okay, so that is number 1 on how to instantly improve your relationship with food. Become aware of what the obsessive voice in your head is saying so that you can turn it off. So what does that mean, right? So what that means is, by becoming aware, awareness is the first step towards any big change or shift in the way that we think, right? So until you're aware of what those obsessive food thoughts are, how are you going to identify what it is that you need to change and shift? So let's dig into that a little bit more, right? Because becoming aware of your thoughts can help to provide you with a clear picture of which ones might be disguised as being good for your health. So that's the tricky thing about diet culture. Some of the food thoughts or thoughts around food that you have in your head might be disguised as being good for your health, right? So let's go over some thoughts that we might want to shift. So again, if the first way to instantly shift your perspective around food is become aware of your diet mentality thoughts, I want to help you do that. I want to use this slide to help you become aware of some of the obsessive food thoughts that you might have right now. Okay, so these are the top 3 diet mentality thoughts that come up with my clients. And I want you to think about, as I read through these, which one resonates most with you. So number 1 is calories, right? So this might look like, I like to talk about, or I mentally count the calories of my meals and snacks. Or maybe you're using an app to track calories, such as MyFitnessPal, right? So maybe that resonates with you. Number two is the scale. So what that means is I believe that in order to be healthy, I have to lose weight and or I weigh myself frequently, right? So the diet mentality thought of being dictated by numbers, either by calories or by the number on the scale. Number three, the most popular diet mentality thought that comes up is morality. So morality means, right, I typically describe a day of eating as good or bad. And I feel guilty if it is a bad day, right? So morality is putting labels on food or how you eat as being good or bad or healthy or unhealthy. And that is also a diet mentality thought. So I want you all to use the chat box right now. Find the chat box and I want you to let me know which one of these thoughts resonates the most with you. So go ahead and open up the chat box and just type in all caps, either calories, the scale, or morality. So open up the chat box and start writing in which one of these thoughts resonates the most with you. Maybe it's both, maybe it's all three, maybe it's just one of them. But just write down right now in the chat box so we can share and we can see which one of these diet mentality thoughts resonates most with us. So just go ahead for those of you who haven't typed in either calories, the scale, or morality. Which one of these diet mentality thoughts resonates most with you? Still have a couple people who haven't written in. I'll give you a second just to open up the chat box and type in which one of these resonates most with you. Right, so we'll come back to this at the end during Q&A just to see which one resonates most with everybody. But I think it's really important to become aware of which one of these diet mentality thoughts resonates the most with you. And then I want to ask the next question, and that is, what action will you take this week or maybe today to work on letting go of this diet mentality thought? Right? So whichever one of these three that you wrote down or you are writing down right now in that chat box, right? Maybe it's calories, maybe it's the scale, maybe it's morality. Which one of these resonates most with you that you wrote in the chat box? And then what action will you take this week to work on letting go of this diet mentality thought? You have the choice. You can either use this group as accountability and myself here in this group as accountability to type in the action that you want to take in the chat box on letting go of that diet mentality thought. Or if you want to keep that personal to yourself, that's okay too. Just make sure to write that down in your journal, or even better, right? After today, put that in your calendar. What action will you take to let go of the diet mentality thoughts around calories, scale, or morality? Right? So feel free to share that here with everybody in the group as a safe space. Feel free to also enter that in if you want to write anonymously into the chat box as well. I will still get that. The group just can't see it. Or write it down for yourself. Because again, I'm asking you to show up today, not only to become aware, but also to take action. So if you showed up today to improve your relationship with food, I'm not here to just talk and for you to listen. I want you to actually write something down so that you can take action to actually shift something today. Okay? So that's a really, really important part of today. So Rachel, one of my clients, she took action. So she had diet mentality thoughts and struggled with accepting her weight, her body, and her relationship with food. She was a chronic dieter who felt exhausted and defeated from feeling like a failure, right? She had the morality with the good or bad days and felt that she failed if she didn't have a good day of eating, right? She also counted calories. She was on MyFitnessPal, and her number one goal when we worked together was to quit MyFitnessPal. So working together, she was able to quit her calorie counting apps for good. And she had no more cheat days, right? So she would label cheat days, no more labeling, no more food morality. And she was able to accept her body as it is and redefine health for herself, which is really, really wonderful. Good example of how she became aware of her diet mentality thoughts and how she was able to shift them. All right, so let's move on to number two. right? So 3 ways to improve your relationship with food. Number 1, right, that we just went over, and now number 2. Number 2 is learning how to honor your cravings. That's the secret, right? So easier said than done. And I have a picture of ice cream there for a reason. So I want to ask you this question. I want you to think about this. When was the last time you had a craving and you ignored it? When was the last time you had a craving and tried a replacement? Right? So when was the last time you craved ice cream and you had Halo Top or vegan or banana and ice cream instead? When was the last time you drank water or caffeine instead when you were hungry in the morning for breakfast? Right? This has happened to you in the last couple of days, right? You might be nodding in agreement. I also want you to think about why that craving was present. So when you're thinking about the answer to this question, something probably popped into your head, right? I want to know why that craving was present. Maybe you're about to get your period, maybe you're having an extra stressful week at your job, or maybe you just had a craving for something. And that's totally normal too, just to crave ice cream for no reason at all other than wanting ice cream, right? So here are the top 3 cravings that we ignore. Number 1, carbohydrates, right? Top craving that we ignore. You want a sandwich, you want a burrito, you want that toast with your eggs, and instead you go for the veggie or the salad option, right? Maybe you can tolerate gluten, maybe you don't have autoimmunity or a sensitivity, but you choose a gluten-free toast because you think it's healthier, right? So you have a craving for carbohydrates and you ignore that. That's number 1. Number 2 is ice cream. Ice cream comes up a lot. Ice cream, you want the real thing, but instead you order vegan or you make avocado or banana ice cream instead, right? And the third most popular craving that I hear that people ignore all the time is chocolate. Whether that's just plain chocolate or chocolate chip cookies, you want that chocolate, you want that sugar, right? But instead you ignore it. Maybe you have water or caffeine instead to push through it. Or maybe you make something with almond flour and coconut sugar and you end up eating 10 of those cookies when you might have really just been satisfied with one chocolate chip flour and sugar cookie, right? So I think you guys know the drill now, right? So which one of these cravings resonates most with you? Let's open back up that chat box. Let's type in all caps, carbs, ice cream, or chocolate. Which one of these resonates most with you? I want you to open up that chat box and type yours in. Maybe it's a couple of them, or maybe the craving that you ignore isn't listed here. And if not, go ahead and list that one in the chat box. What's the craving that you ignore most? I got a lot of wine yesterday, which made me laugh because it's the pandemic, right? So a lot of people were craving wine and they were ignoring their craving. So type that in, type down which one of those cravings resonates most with you, or type in your own craving that you've ignored recently. And I'll come back to this as well during the question and answer portion. But at least you can see in the chat box which one of these resonates most with you and with others, right? So one of my clients who struggled with this, one of my clients who struggled with cravings was Allie. You guys might know Allie from Avo Queen. She was one of my clients. Allie struggled with food anxiety and binge eating. She talks openly about this, and the reason why is because she was ignoring her cravings. And as a result of ignoring her cravings, she restricted food. So even just the act, what she discovered was even just the act of ignoring a craving was restriction. Because she said, well, I wasn't really restricting ice cream. I was just having the vegan version, or I wasn't restricting cookies, right? I was having the grain-free version. But even that in and of itself is what she found out to be restriction, right? So instead, what she did is she started to remove the good and bad labels that she had placed on certain foods, right? The morality again. And she learned how to tune into her cravings. She learned how to accept them and be okay with them and how to listen to what her body really wanted. If you guys don't know Allie, I would suggest following her. She's a great resource as well. So I want to ask yourself, what might change for you, just like Allie, what might change for you if you listen to your body and your cravings? Feel free to type that into the chat box if you want to share with others. You can also do that anonymously if you just want to share with me. And alternatively, as well, you can also just write that down for yourself in your notebook. What might change for you if you actually listen to whatever craving it was that you wrote down in that chat box? What would change for you? What would change? Right? So that's that action of listening to your craving. Again, that's why I want you to show up today to not only just listen to me talk, but also for you to take action. In order to improve your relationship with food, you have to start pushing through your fears and take action and think about what might actually change if I did listen to my cravings. You can share that in the chat box, share that with yourself or with me anonymously, whatever works for you. Now we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3 is to identify and challenge your food rules. So, in order to start improving your relationship with food, we have to identify and challenge our food rules. Sometimes it's really hard to even identify what a food rule is. So, food rules, what they do is they can dictate our daily meals, snacks, and drink choices. And sometimes these are subconscious, like we don't even know that we're doing them. We don't even know that we have rules in our minds. And I'll give you some examples so you can help identify what yours are. But that's so hard because food rules are created over time, right? From a lifetime, from an adult lifetime of external dieting messages that influence how we eat, or even childhood. And that's why I wrote lifetime in there. I was thinking about myself growing up and reading Cosmopolitan magazine, or even any of those magazines, or listening to parents or coaches or doctors, right? Or now social media, external dieting messages that influence how we eat. You see someone doing something that worked for them, you try that yourself as well. External dieting messages. So here are some common food rules. These are the top 3 most common food rules that I hear from my clients and when you DM me on Instagram. Number 1 is fasting. So all you intermittent fasters out there, not eating before a certain time in the morning and or eating after a certain time at night, right? So you want to stay within that fasting window. Fasting is not only a food rule, but fasting is also a diet. So intermittent fasting is such a strange way of spelling diet, right? Because you're ignoring your hunger in the morning or at night, right? And it's a food rule, send up a rule that you can't eat within certain times, even if you are hungry. The number 2 most common food rule is food groups. So that means only eating veggies and potatoes, right? So only eating like squash and sweet potatoes for your carbs, or only eating 1 meal with carbs a day, where you only allow yourself to have carbohydrates in 1 meal. So anything that has to do with food groups, right? Or maybe you've cut out food groups. Maybe you did the Whole30 and you stayed paleo. You just have complete food groups cut out: grains, legumes, carbohydrates, dairy. Maybe you have a rule against that for whatever reason it is. Maybe it's a reason for weight loss. Maybe it's a reason for digestion, but that's still a food rule, right? And number 3, most common is the amount of food. So let's say that you only allow yourself to have 1 snack a day, only an afternoon snack, not a morning snack. Maybe you have a rule that half of your meal must be veggies. Maybe you have a rule that you have to have a veggie in every single meal. Maybe it has to do with portion control, how much, right? The rules on how much you can eat. Right, so let's open up that chat box again. Which one of these food rules resonates most with you? So go ahead and open up the chat box and just type in all caps, either fasting, food group, or amount. You're welcome to put some more detail in here too about your food rule, but just go ahead and open up that chat box and let me know which one resonates most with you. Which one is like your biggest food rule? And if it's not any of these, go ahead and write down what your biggest food rule is right now. Or maybe a subcategory within this food rule that you wanted to share. So go ahead and take your time to type that into the chat box: fasting, food group, or amount. Or feel free to add some more information about your own food rules. Right? Maybe you have a lot of food rules. My client, Jeanette, had a lot of food rules. She had pages and pages of food rules. This is Jeanette. She's wonderful. If you guys don't follow her, I suggest checking her out as well. So she came to me after years of struggling with food rules. She was constantly obsessing over food and she was exhausted. I remember she came to me, she said, I'm just so tired. I want to live a fuller life. I want to use all this brain space that I use on a daily basis, right? To think about and obsess about food to live a fuller life. So I helped her dive into the root causes of her issues with food, and I changed her relationship towards food and her food rules. She started breaking her food rules one by one, which was scary, but she did it. I'm so proud of her for that. And she could enjoy her life again. And she had that space to start working on her business again, and her relationships improved. So I'm wondering if you would also like me to teach you how to heal your relationship with food. If you'd like me to teach you how to enjoy life fully again, because that's why you showed up today, correct? You showed up today for a reason. And maybe you feel uncertain, right? So maybe you're like Jeanette, where you said, I do want to make a change to heal my relationship with food. But there's so much fear and there's so much uncertainty behind what would happen if I started to eat intuitively, if I started to break my food rules, if I started to overcome the diet mentality, would I lose control around food? Right? That uncertainty. You might feel stuck. You might feel trapped in the cycle of restricting, binging, dieting, fasting. You're not even sure where to start or how to take the first step. So I'll help you with that. I'll help you because you might show up today, you might be exhausted as well. Maybe that's why you showed up. You know, a lot of people who sign up for my online courses or work with me one-on-one, you're like, Molly, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I have all this brain space that's being used, right, to think about food. I feel guilty and I'm obsessing about food and I don't want to do that anymore. Right? Maybe just type in like yes into the chat box if you're like, I'm exhausted. Okay. So you're here because you want to stop obsessing about food and you want to start intuitively eating. You want to learn how to eat without fear or guilt, right? You don't want to have anxiety anymore about certain foods or anxiety about eating too much or maybe too little. You don't want to use food for emotional comfort anymore. And you want to be able to trust yourself around food, to trust your body so that you can stop comparing it to others and not let the scale dictate your happiness. This is why you showed up today. So here are your options, right? Option number one is that you don't take the steps to make changes to heal your relationship with food. And maybe a year from now, you're stuck in the same cycle. Option number two is that you 100% commit to making the changes for yourself this year so that you can eat without that fear and that guilt, and so that you can find food freedom by using the same proven steps that I use with my clients time and time again and over again. That's your second option. Right? So I want to invite you to my Fear to Freedom online course on how to heal your relationship with food. I'm super excited about this course. Fear to Freedom is the only intuitive eating course of its kind because it not only shows you my exact steps that I use with my one-on-one clients to find peace with food, but also how to have an ongoing healthy relationship with food, an ongoing healthy relationship with your body so that you can live a fuller life that is free of obsessive food thoughts and anxiety and the binge and restrict cycle. That's what this course is for. So if you're interested in the course, here's what you're going to learn by the end of the program. And stay tuned because I'm going to have some amazing free bonuses, and I'm only giving to those who showed up on this call today and the call yesterday. By the end of the program, you will have created awareness to quiet the obsessive voice in your head so that you're not constantly thinking about food. By the end of the program, you'll learn about the different types of hunger. So there's many different types of hunger, and you'll learn about them in the course so that you can learn how to trust and listen to your hunger cues. You'll learn how to overcome barriers to feel your fullness so that you can actually understand what your body needs. So if you have issues with hunger cues and fullness cues, we have two whole modules about both of these, right? You also learn how to identify your triggers behind binge eating. So all you binge and restrict cycles, people who showed up today wanting to end that cycle, the program will help you identify triggers behind your binge eating and will help you build a coping toolbox to stop future urges. So module 5 in the course is a powerful and impactful one. People who signed up for the course last time, it was emotional for a lot of people, right? But that's what needs to happen in terms to break the binge and restrict cycle. And you will learn how to do that in this program. You will also become aware of your food rules, right? Just like we talked about today, your food fears, and we'll learn the why behind why they exist in the first place. And with that, you will create an action plan to break your food rules without that fear and without that guilt. Because we're going to be unpacking your food guilt so that you can eat without the fear of losing control and without that fear of weight gain, because that is real. So I have a whole module about food guilt, an entire module with multiple video lessons, including how to shift body negative thoughts into the idea of body neutrality and how to implement that into your life. So body neutrality is really different from body positivity, and you'll learn about what that is and how to implement that within the program, which is so important for healing. So here are the 6 modules. Module 1 is learning how to tune out those obsessive food thoughts. So if you're looking to get rid of those obsessive food thoughts that rule your life every single day, module 1 and all the videos, video lessons and worksheets within that. Module 2 is all about your hunger cues, hunger signals, how to identify them, how to tune into them, what hunger actually feels like, physical hunger, emotional hunger, what that actually means so that you can turn into your hunger signals. Module 3 is learning your fullness cues. So for those of you who struggle, right, with knowing when you're full, when to stop, how much food you really need, an entire module with worksheets, workbooks, and video lessons for that. Module 4 is challenging your food rules, right? So a huge module on that. And number 5 is breaking the binge and restrict cycle. This one is loaded with content, not only with workbooks, not only with video lessons, but also a visualization exercise, a meditation exercise. Again, this is an emotional module for those who signed up for my course last time. But it has to be, right? We have to tap into that in order to break free from our habits and from that cycle. And module 6, we talk about food guilt and we talk about body image. So that's the total value of $1,200 when you add up how many weeks and what I give for my own coaching, $1,200, right? So that's an 8-week course with 6 training modules. You get 27 video lessons, tons of PDF guides, the meditation, the visualization exercises, journaling, resource guides, worksheets, and also, so here's the bonus. Also, you get the first bonus, which is dropped in right away, right after you purchase the course, which is Intuitive Eating 101, the beginner's guide to intuitive eating, right? So I help you lay the foundation of intuitive eating before you dive into the full 8-week course. I also want to remind you that I'm really not special. So I actually don't hold the magic key to healing your relationship with food, right? I just have proven steps that I have now been able to use for over 4 years with my clients in my coaching programs that I follow every single time to start their journey to heal their relationship with food. So I drop that all into my course. If my clients can do it, so can you. And I want to throw in another bonus. So I added in what worked really well for the last group was a Facebook group. So private members only Facebook group for actually 10 weeks. So last time I did 8 weeks. This time around, I want to open it up for 10 weeks. So you guys have 10 weeks of community and my accountability within a Facebook group. So just like you shared today on chat, being able to share with others who are on that same journey with you in a private Facebook group. I'm also offering a refund. If you start the work on this course and you're still not satisfied, just show me your work and within 10 days of enrolling, get that back. I also want to give you a bonus, third bonus. This is a new bonus just for you, this group. Last time, the last group didn't get it, but this came from feedback of something that they wanted. They wanted more about how to have a healthy relationship with food during this pandemic. So I created a bonus. All three of these bonuses will be dropped in right away. The minute that you sign up for the Fear to Freedom course, you'll have access to all three of these. The value of all of these is $1,500, which is way too expensive. So I want to offer that to you for only $250. I also want to offer it to you for only $50 a month. So you can get started with the Fear to Freedom course today for just $249 or just $49 a month. That's it. So if you want to enroll, you can even open up another screen right now. It's just feartofreedomcourse.com. Sign up today so you can get those bonuses, right? You'll have all those bonuses. And that's it. With all those bonuses, you can get started today at this cheap price. Only $40, $49 a month. So there's the enrollment if you want to write that down for after you hang up, or you want to open up another tab and do that now. Right? So here is everything that you'll get for that $249 price. The whole program and all those bonuses. But let's say that you want my support. Let's say you want a little bit more support. I created the VIP group, right? So again, I'm only taking 20 people in the VIP group. And that's just $398 or 6 payments of $74. So here's what you get. At the VIP group, you get all those bonuses. You get the complete program. You also get 6 one-hour group coaching calls. And I keep each one of those group coaching calls small, less than 10 people, which is so valuable. We had so many breakthroughs in our last VIP coaching call groups, so many breakthroughs and so much vulnerability of people sharing their journey, which was so powerful. You also will get access to me via email, which is crazy. I mean, all of that combined is $2,300, but you're getting it for just $398. That is it. 6 group coaching calls and email access with me for just that price. So you can sign up for that one too at the feartofreedomcourse.com link. You can pick the upfront payment or the payment plans over time to make it work financially for you. And if you only want the basics, which is just the modules, the video lessons, the worksheets, all 3 of those bonuses, the Facebook group and the 2 bonus modules, then it's just $49 a month. That's it. $49 a month to take care of you. That is a third of a gym membership, right? That costs less than any diet program out there. So think about that. Think about what might be holding you back. And be like, oh, all this sounds great, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to break old habits and reprogram my beliefs around food, right? So Eliza came to me and she was stuck in the habit of constant dieting and restriction. She was overthinking every meal and obsessing about food constantly. She had a fear of being stuck in the diet mentality and relying on weight loss for her happiness. Again and again and again. And I got this email from her. It was great. She said, this week I have been able to let go of my fear and old beliefs, giving myself the option to eat whatever I want and realizing that I can make decisions about food without overthinking them. That was a really, really big shift for her. Maybe you're afraid that if you listen to your body and hunger cues that you will lose control with food. It's a huge fear. Allie Kay also had that fear. She was caught in the binge and restrict cycle. She had an all or nothing mindset with food, right? She was actually overeating out of fear of hunger later in the day. She was eating whatever was in front of her, even if she was not hungry, even if she was not craving it. So she was scared about eating intuitively and that she would lose control of food. So it was great when I got the email from her that said, I'm at a point now of comfort with food where I can play around with my diet and eat without sending myself into a spiral, without losing control of food. Binging is a thing of the past for me, and I can listen to my body's cues, right? And work with my cravings. So it's a big, big shift for her. I use a lot of that in module 5 on breaking the binge and restrict cycle, because you can be overwhelmed, right? You can be overwhelmed. You're like, there just isn't enough time for me to focus on this right now. So the good news is that if you sign up for the basic, you'll have access to this for 4 months. If you sign up for VIP, you'll have lifetime access. So you can come back to it whenever you want so that you're not overwhelmed. You have 4 months or lifetime access to the course. And each module, right, each video lesson within each module, usually not more than 5 minutes a video lesson, and then a workbook that you can do in your own time. So you're not investing, you're only investing as much as you want to get out of it, so that you don't have to feel overwhelmed. Maybe you don't know where to start, so I help you with that too. So I help you within this program. If you don't know where to start, I have it in a specific order for you where the content is dripped out weekly. The content is dripped out weekly so you're not overwhelmed, so that you have time. We take a break during Thanksgiving so you have time to catch up as well. And then you know exactly where to start because I'm telling you. I'm telling you exactly the steps to take, the same steps that I use with my clients to eat intuitively. So here's an example of what one of the workbooks looks like, right? When you open it up, the fullness and satiation workbook in module 3. So in the program, you get checklists, workbooks, guides, everything step by step on how to trust your body and eat intuitively. It's all there for you. So here's that website again. Write it down if you haven't yet, so that you can sign up. I'm going to open it up to 15 minutes of questions, actually 18. So I finished early. And I'm going to take this off. You guys can start writing that into the chat box. So if you had questions, I'm still going to keep you guys all on mute. But if you can type your questions into the chat box, I'll start answering them. Kimberly and Jesse were 2 members of Fear to Freedom in our last group. Kimberly said, I opened my fridge and thought, wow, there was time when having sweets in the house would have caused me to lose control. But now she was able to identify her trigger foods during the course, and now she can have them around. And Jessie had a breakthrough. She said, today I actually stopped eating when I was full. I don't remember the last time that I did that. I love how she said mind blown. I want all of you to have your minds blown in the Fear to Freedom course. Like, that's my goal. I loved when she sent that to me. I want to have all of your guys' mind blown. So let me see how savvy I am with sharing my screen. All right, let me say hello. I'm going to start the video. All right, hello. Let's see, let's put that on gallery view. Hello. Oh, some of you guys have beautiful photos of you. Okay, let me bring up the chat box. I'm going to start reading questions. Oh, actually, before I start reading questions that you guys have, I wanted to come back, right, to what resonated most with you. So remember, the first one was morality, calories, and scale. So for this group, it seems that morality and calories was tied, right? And this is really, really, really hard for those of you. So if you find any of the diet mentality things hard to shift, let's say you've been trying to do this for years and you don't know which actions to take to let go of it and how to shift it. If you feel like you have failed in that, that's what's in the course. That is what is in the Fear to Freedom course, is how to shift that, how to actually do that, how to break free from those diet mentality thoughts, the calories, the morality, the scale, everything you typed on here, right? Someone shared what has been helpful is showing more self-compassion to her body and using her senses to decide which hunger cues, right, are valid instead of emotions. So we talk about that too in module 2. We talk about hunger. We talk about emotional hunger versus physical hunger and which ones are valid in the moment and how to identify that, right? And how to act upon those cues as well. So that's a big thing in order to stop stressing about what you're putting in your mouth. Okay. So for cravings, right? It looks like you guys are carbs. Everyone's like carbs all the way, carbs, carbs, carbs. We have a few wine people. Wine has been coming up a lot. So I think the thing about giving into cravings that most people are afraid of is that they'll gain weight if they listen to cravings, right? So we talk about that and we're going to go through that in the course as well. And that was a big thing. We had a lot of breakthroughs in the VIP group was that fear of gaining weight if you listen to your cravings. So we were able to in the VIP group, and there's also worksheets in there as well if you just want the basic of how to dive underneath that, right? So where is that fear of weight gain coming from? Why is it there? What does that mean if you start to listen to your cravings, right? So we talk about the idea of, is it possible to eat intuitively while still wanting to lose weight and how to shift that, right? Right. I love everything you guys wrote, right? Somebody shared this a few weeks ago. She was craving candy. She finally bought it. She had it once and was so happy and haven't had a craving since. So it was great learning. And I hope that continues. So there's an example of someone who broke through that craving. I love it. Okay, and then the third one, right, in terms of amount, fasting, and food groups, looks like you guys were all pretty evenly split. Someone said, I always tell myself just one bite, right? Even just saying that term, just one bite, is actually a form of restriction. Okay, so that's a big thing when we talk about binging. So people who show up and take the course in order to shift out of the binge and restrict cycle, right, is identifying where there is restriction in your daily eating habits. Whenever there is restriction, there's typically binging. So instead of treating the binging, you want to treat and correct the restriction, right? If you're tired of comparing yourself to others, I have a whole module about that. I have a whole module on how to stop comparing yourself to others. We have worksheets how to do that on module 6, right? So those of you who count calories, those of you who can compare, are trying to lose weight. So think about that. We're going to dive more into that. Okay, so for questions. Okay, first question is, in the basic option of the course, are there no moments of interaction with myself and or other clients at all? Yeah, so the basic option only gives you access to the video modules and the worksheets. It does not give you access to me, and it does not give you access to other clients except for the Facebook group. Okay, so you don't get the group calls, and you don't get emails with me, but I will be on the Facebook group. So the basic option does give you access to a Facebook group where you can interact with me and other clients, right? The VIP option gives you access to the Facebook group and 6 group coaching calls and email access to me, right? So really the answer to that question, oh, she says, thanks for clarifying. Cool. Awesome. What other questions do you guys have? Go ahead and type your questions in to the box below. Any questions that you have about the course, what it includes, how long are the group coaching calls? No need to apologize. That's one thing I'm like, I always say instead of saying sorry, replace sorry with the word thank you, right? So how long are the group coaching calls? Thank you for answering my question. All right, so that's one thing I learned from someone as a woman, right? We always like say, oh, I'm sorry. So how long are the group coaching calls? They're 1 hour each. So 6 group coaching calls, 6 hours total, and each group coaching call is an hour each. How the group coaching calls work is that once you sign up for the VIP, you will get an email from me, and I will say, hey, we're still waiting for the cart to close. So although I think we're close to almost selling out of VIP. So when that happens, you'll get another email from me. I'm going to email actually the whole group. And then we work on choosing a time that works for everybody. So first I thought that um, it'd be easier to say, okay, we're going to meet at 6 p.m. every week, but knowing that there's East Coast people and West Coast people, last time I just ended up dividing the group into East Coast and West Coast, um, so that it worked. But we'll find a time. We will find a time that works for everybody every week continuously. I do like to have it like where you meet every Tuesday at a certain time, but we'll figure that out. So if you're worried about your schedule, right, as long as you have a little bit of flexibility and it's not just like one time that you can meet, we will make it work for you. And then I have people who like made 5 out of the 6 calls because of their schedule, or 4, or made all of them. Okay, perfect. So I hope I hope Iris, that you can join the VIP group because it's really awesome with the group coaching calls. So I hope to see you in there. Anyone else have any questions? Go ahead and type any question that you have into the chat box. I'm happy to answer it for you. All right, are there any worksheets or food journaling handouts you could provide that are not in the Freedom course? Would love to get an idea of the course. Yes, okay, so I'm trying to figure that out. So you wanna see kind of what those worksheets look like, I'm assuming, correct? Um, yes, all right, so Victoria, let me write down your name. And if anyone else would like this as well, when you get the replay, just reply and let me know. And I'll send this to you. WOJCIK, perfect. So I'll look up the email that you signed up with, Victoria, and I can send you a few examples, okay, of what they look like so you can get an idea of what's in the course. You know what I can do actually, Victoria, is I can send you a list of the titles of all of the worksheets. So you know like what each worksheet includes in it. Would that be helpful? Let's see if she writes yes. And I give you an example of what that looks like. Okay. Anyone who wants examples, and actually anyone who wants that example, will you just write yes? And then I'll make sure to look up your name too. All right. Stephanie Pollock. All right, and Iris, Craig. This is me being this is me being totally savvy with, I'm sure there's an easier way to do this rather than writing down all your names. Okay, Marlos, I might have problem finding your email. So if Marlos, if you could either send me a private message with your email, that would be great because I need your last name to look it up. So Marlos, if you can send me your email privately. There we go. Thank you so much. Okay, so all of you will get that same email from me. Okay, W-E-I-J. Cool name, I love that name. Okay, anyone else have a question they wanted to ask about the course or about what's included or about what the last group had major shifts in or what may or may not work for you? I wanna make sure that you feel comfortable before you sign up, before you make that financial commitment. And hopefully with the payment plans, it makes you more comfortable too. So again, it's feartofreedomcourse.com. You can also just go to balancedbymolly.com and click on Fear to Freedom in the main menu. So feartofreedomcourse.com or balancedbymolly.com and just click on the Fear to Freedom tab and that will take you right there to sign up. If nobody has any more questions, we're going to end early. I set aside this hour. You guys set aside this hour just for you. One more question. Let's go. Okay. Stephanie says, when you sign up, are the bonuses applied directly to us? Yes. So Stephanie, the bonuses are free. So if you're doing the $249 for the basic or the $398 for the VIP, that will include the 3 bonuses. The minute that you sign up, you will have access to all 3 of those. So that means that both of the bonus modules, the intuitive eating and also the pandemic one, will be uploaded into the course when you log in, ready to go. And then you'll get an email from me about the link to the Facebook group so that I can accept you into the private members group. So that's applied right away. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Stephanie, right? Thank you. Okay, Iris, she lives in Spain. Welcome. So cool. Okay, so you live in Spain, you're really interested in the VIP group, but also concerned that the group calls will be crazy late for me. Yeah, so most likely that will be really hard with the group coaching calls. But all of the group coaching calls will be recorded and you will have email access to me. Okay, so we will try our best to make it work for you to be included in those group coaching calls. So we will try our very best, Iris, to make that work. That's all I can promise you because most people are going to be on the West or East Coast time. If we have a lot of East Coast people, that might make it easier, but we will do our best to accommodate you so you can be a part of those group coaching calls. Even just the recordings themselves are very, very valuable, and then having access to me on email. Okay. Awesome. Oh my God, look at this. Okay, so good news, Iris. Looks like Marlos is in Italy. Okay, so I could make that work. I could probably make that work from Italy and Spain. You guys are 8 or 9 hours ahead, right? So if everybody else in the VIP group has mornings available, we could do morning calls our time, right? That would be afternoon your time. So as long as you have flexibility in your evenings, Iris and Marlos, that would work. Okay. We can make that work. I'll work with you both on that to try and make that work for you. Okay. Awesome. I love it. People are joining from Europe. Welcome. I've had clients in Europe before, but not part of the Fear to Freedom group. So I love that. Okay, cool. You guys have flexibility. Awesome. Yeah. All that it really takes to be a part of the VIP group is flexibility to show up for those calls. And hopefully, because we're all working from home, it'll be easier, right? Let me know when I email you if you're in the VIP group, if you are an essential worker, right? And that dictates your time too. Because that did happen in our last group. We had an essential worker. So we want to make sure that we accommodate everybody. Okay, other questions that you guys have? Thanks for sticking around to the end. I'm so happy that you're going to be signing up for the course. It's so exciting. I can't believe I'm launching this for the second time. We had such a great VIP group last time. We also had just such great interaction, even for those who signed up for the basic program and were part of the Facebook group. You know, what's funny is somebody here in the chat group mentioned about their mom, right, being the person who kind of, I think that was, yeah, about your mom. So there was a whole chat within. You can see it. So I'm going to be inviting you into the same Fear to Freedom group as some members who are still going through the course. So you'll not only have access to current members, but also people who have taken the course and are currently taking the course too. So everybody will be in there. I just continue to add on to that community, and the community will continue to be added onto in Facebook as we go through. If you finish the 10 weeks and you don't want to be on it anymore with new members who come on later, you can invite yourself out of it or stay on if you want to meet new people and see what they're chatting about too. So that's really, really great to have that Facebook group is pretty awesome to see what people share. Okay, so everybody has it, right? Everyone is like feartofreedomcourse.com, balancedbymolly.com. The Fear to Freedom tab is right there. It's ready for you to sign up. I cannot wait to have you guys in this course. It is awesome. I was blown away last time just by everybody's involvement and vulnerability and the shifts that took place. So I'm excited for you to start making changes and start taking action. The first one question somebody had last time too is the first module gets released on Wednesday of next week. So again, when you buy today, you will have immediate access right away to the 2 bonus modules, the Facebook group and my welcome video, and to keep you busy until next Wednesday when module 1 is released. So I'll be sending out tomorrow. I'll be accepting all the invites for Facebook and sending out a little note to say hello and welcome and check in and see how everyone's doing as they continue to join. So thank you so much. It's 1 minute to 1. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so excited for you to get started too. I'm so excited. You're welcome. Let me know if you guys need anything else. You'll get the recording. You can always reply to that email. Let me know what you need. And then I have Victoria, Stephanie, Iris, Marlos, and Monica. I have you guys. Actually, you know what would be helpful? That would save me a step if you're still on this call. Victoria, Iris, and Stephanie and Monica, if you guys can type in your emails privately in the chat, that would be super awesome. Super awesome if you can do that. That would be helpful. Just in case I'm not able to find your email, it would be great if you can just type that in. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. I have Victoria, Stephanie, Iris, Monica. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. You'll get an email from me. And I can't wait to have you join. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks so much for showing up today. Hope you all have a lovely afternoon. Bye.
Bye.
You're welcome. Bye, guys. You're welcome.
Thank